Welcome to Perspective Shifting Podcast, the show that is here to help you stop relying much on only motivation and start building unstoppable and self discipline. I am your host, Martha Wooden, and today we are talking about how to stop trying and start flowing in commitment and consistency and self love betterment. If you've ever struggled to show up for yourself, this episode is for you. Now let me jump right in. Getting started first with discussing what is self-love. Defining self-love is almost as difficult as finding it. To me, self-love is the ability to accept who you are in the present moment, forgive yourself for your imperfections, and treat your mind and body with the utmost respect. Self love is being content with your own company and not relying on others to give you a sense of worth. Self love is knowing that at the end of the day, you are the only person who you will spend your every minute of every day with. Self love is feeling genuine happiness for each of your accomplishments, no matter how small. Self love is unconditionally supporting yourself with every thought and action. In this episode number 3 of Perspective Shifting Podcast, I will discuss building self love through consistent, small, daily actions rather than relying on fleeting motivation. Keep topics Key topics include establishing non negotiable routines, fostering self acceptance over perfection, setting healthy boundaries, and reframing self care as a sustainable lifestyle. I will also discuss what the 7 steps to loving yourself are. 7 pathways to self love often involve practices like mindfulness, self care, setting boundaries, forgiving yourself, intentional living, positive self talk, and nurturing supportive relationships, all focus on appreciating and acting in ways that support your physical, psychological, and spiritual growth, recognizing your inherent worth and learning to treat yourself with kindness and respect. Now, let me again state what commitment and consistency is. Commitment is the initial decision or pledge to a goal, while consistency is the daily repeated action that sustains it, forming the foundation for long term success. Together, they transform intentions into results, as commitment provides the why and consistency provides the how. Consistency reinforces commitment, creating momentum and building trust. The definition of terms: commitment is the heart posture of promise, whereas consistency is the disciplined action that follows, ensuring dependability. Consistency means showing up daily, regardless of feelings, turning small, often unnoticed efforts into significant, lasting results, and which is the power of small actions. As described in psychology, humans have a deep seated need to align their actions with previous commitments to maintain integrity and self image, which is the psychological driver. The more consistent you are, the more your commitment is strengthened, making it easier to overcome obstacles. This is recognized as building momentum. So, success is often driven by a combination of clarity, which gives us direction, commitment, which gives us fuel, and consistency, which starts the journey, in which these are known as the 3 C's, in which I discussed already in last week's podcast, in the 2 weeks ago podcast in episode 1. Lack of consistency is the primary cause of failure, which can be mitigated by creating a plan B and persisting through challenges, which is known as failure and persistence. Now, let us dive deeper into today's podcast topic discussion for episode number 3: flowing in commitment and consistency and self love betterment. If you don't know yourself, it is very difficult to love yourself. Self discovery is the process of truly comprehending yourself in each and every way, regardless of the presence of others. It's the journey you would need to take to find self love and to achieve the level of self actualization as described on a topic that I researched. When you know yourself, you will know how and why you will react to certain situations, predict stumbling blocks, and determine your purpose. Self discovery is a continuous, often non linear journey of understanding your core values, passions, and fears to foster authentic self love and acceptance. It requires confronting past limitations, abandoning people pleasing, and through practices like meditation, journaling, and therapy, learning to embrace your true self. This process shifts from self criticism to unconditional support, ultimately creating a life rooted in authenticity, purpose, and self compassion. Key components of the journey: self acceptance is letting go of the need to be different and embracing your strengths and flaws. Self awareness is understanding your emotions, needs, and desires. Setting boundaries is protecting your energy and about validating your own worth. Continuous growth is recognizing that self discovery is a lifelong process of evolving rather than a fixed destination. Tools for self discovery and self love is journaling, which is recording thoughts and feelings without judgment to gain clarity. Mindfulness and meditation is one, which is connecting with your inner self and reducing anxiety. Therapy is another, which is navigating personal, deep rooted issues. Living intentionally is one, aligning daily actions with your core values and passions. This journey often involves navigating difficult emotions, but it leads to a more empowered, peaceful, and a more healthier fulfilled life. Here are 10 ways to get started on your journey to self discovery and self love. Choose a few that resonate with you and start working through them. Number one, learn to appreciate your imperfections. Nobody's perfect until you can accept the things that make you imperfect. You will have a hard time truly loving yourself. Let go of the toxic professionalism that is so prevalent in today's society. Number two, discover what self care truly means to you. Take some time to figure out what you truly enjoy doing to wind down. Maybe it's singing, taking a shower, watching a movie, writing, sleeping, or something else, or a hobby or something else. Whatever your true wind down activity is, prioritize it daily in an act of self care. You deserve time for yourself. You are the only person with the power to make yourself happy. Number three, forgive yourself when you have a bad day. I discussed this one in much more depth in a past few weeks ago. It's important to accept that you have a bad day and move on rather than dwell on everything that could have been better. Accept where you are right now. Maybe you have some weight to lose or muscle to gain before embarking on a journey to fix this. It is important to accept and love yourself where you're at currently. Set loading Self-loathing is never a great motivator for change, and it will only backfire in the end. It is perfectly reasonable to love yourself and want to change something about yourself to support your personal ideal image. Number five, embrace opportunities for growth. Look forward to growing. Once you've accepted where you are right now and appreciate that you're not perfect, then you're ready to be open to changing yourself for the better. Adopt a growth mindset and look for the ways that you can improve your current circumstances. Number 6, get comfortable alone. If you're single, embrace being single for a while. If you're in a relationship, take some time to be alone. Get used to your own company, spend time with your thoughts without any sort of distractions, and get to know where your mind tends to wander. Once you can be comfortable with your own thoughts, you can secure enough to pour your energy into others. Number 7, seek out a therapist if needed. They should be able to help you work through your past traumas and discover the way you came to be yourself today. Number 8, let go of past grudges. If you've been holding on to an old rivalry or trivial argument for several years, it is time to move on. Accept that the situation happened, but that don't allow it to continue making you feel bitter about a certain thing or person. Once you make amends with things, you should have mental clarity to move forward. So learn to forgive. Number 9, take responsibility for your shortcomings. If you make a mistake, own up to it. You don't know everything and you can't do everything. It's useless to try to pretend that you're perfect. Now, more than ever, you must take responsibility if someone calls you out for what you've said or done. If you cannot do this, there is still more self growth that needs to happen. Number 10, find your sense of purpose. What's your reason for living? Why do you wake up each day? Find your purpose. Finding your purpose enables you to walk in your purpose with every step on your path. If you have a sense of purpose, it will be much easier to love yourself. To wrap this podcast up, let me end this final podcast discussion with this. Flowing in commitment and consistency in self love involves treating self care as an active daily discipline rather than a fleeting feeling. Building self respect by keeping promises to yourself. It requires creating structured habits such as setting boundaries, prioritizing mental and physical health, and reflecting on progress to transform small intentional actions into a lifelong nurturing and confident lifestyle. Core principles for consistent self love: using commitment as a foundation. Commitment is the initial pledge to prioritize your well being, which can be strengthened by writing down your intentions or finding an accountability partner. Consistency as action. While commitment is the why, consistency the how, the daily, often small actions that build habits. By boundary setting, in which true self love includes saying no to protect your energy and mental health. Actionable habits: by moving your body, by engaging in regular physical activity. Nourish yourself by eating balanced, healthy meals. Rest by prioritizing 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep. Mindfulness incorporates meditation or deep breathing. Overcoming hurdles by developing a plan B for when challenges all arise to maintain momentum. Building sustainable habits by taking small steps, by focusing on daily, consistent efforts rather than fast, unsustainable changes. Structure your life by using systems like calendar alerts to automate behaviors, reducing reliance on willpower. Reframe self care by viewing self care as necessary maintenance, like getting enough sleep rather than just luxury. Self compassion by being kind to yourself, showing self compassion by being kind to yourself during setbacks. which is part of the commitment process. Now, let me discuss the 7 steps to loving yourself. Here are some common pathways and actions. Number 1, practice mindfulness and self awareness by paying attention to your thoughts, feelings, and needs without judgment, using journaling and meditation to understand yourself better. Number 2, embrace self compassion by talking to yourself like a dear friend, forgiving mistakes and acknowledging your humanity rather than engaging in harsh self criticism. Number 3, prioritize self care by meeting your basic needs for rest, nutrition, hygiene, and movement, and engage in activities that bring you joy and peace. Number 4, establish boundaries by learning to say no to things that drain you and define your personal values and needs to protect your emotional space. Number 5, live intentionally and authentically by making choices aligned with your true self, honoring your values, and setting positive intentions for your day. Number 6, cultivate positive self talk by replacing negative self talk with affirmations and appreciative statements, recognizing your strengths and progress. Number 7, build supportive relationships by surrounding yourself with people who uplift you and learn to trust your own judgment and inner voice. The highest and strongest form of self love, according to many sources, is self discipline, defined as consistently making choices that align with your long term well being, even when it's difficult, providing you with value, your future self more than providing you value with for your future self more than immediate comfort. It involves taking responsibility, creating the person you admire, and choosing actions that build your best life over temporary pleasure. The key aspects of self discipline as self love are with delayed gratification by sacrificing short term ease for greater future rewards, by using action over words, by doing what you say you'll do, aligning thoughts with actions, building your best self by creating the version of yourself you can admire by showing up consistently, freedom through structure by discipline in areas like health or finances, leads to freedom from disease or stress. Love in action. It is a proactive, not passive form of love that protects your future. Other perspectives on high forms of self love are embracing self acceptance by by fully accepting yourself as you are without needing external approval. Showing yourself compassion by treating yourself with the same kindness you would offer a dear friend. Having self awareness and values by understanding your deepest values and living in alignment with them. Ultimately, discipline is seen as the practical, active expression of deep self love, demonstrating you care enough to do what's right for you in the long run. Some causes of lack of self love are stress and difficult life experiences and events, such as serious illness, trauma, or bereavement, can have a negative effect on self love, self esteem. Personality can also play a part. Some people are just more prone to negative thinking, while others set impossible higher standards for themselves without self discipline. Jesus tells us to love your neighbor as yourself. Matthew 22:39. It's easy to take that verse at face value and think, just love your neighbor. But the modifying phrase, as yourself, tells us we need to love ourselves in order to fully love our neighbor. Agape love is the highest form of human love. Agape love, often considered the highest form of love, embodies selflessness, unconditional sacrificial love, and care for self as well as for others. 1 Corinthians 13 is a foundational detailed definition of agape love, the Greek term for selfless, unconditional, and sacrificial love. Paul describes this love not as a fleeting emotion, but as an active, willful choice to prioritize the well being of others. It is described as patient, kind, and enduring. Characteristics of agape in 1 Corinthians 13 is being selfless and action oriented. It does not insist on its own way. It is not self seeking. It is not easily angered. It is being unconditional. It persists regardless of the recipient's response or actions. It is eternal. It is the highest form of love that never fails. It is the definition of God's love. It is the standard for how believers should treat others. This chapter emphasizes that without this specific type of love, even great spiritual gifts or sacrifices are meaningless. In Corinthians, 1 Corinthians 13 reads from the King James Version as this: Though I speak with the tongues of men and of angels, I have not charity. I am become as sounding brass, a tinkling cymbal. And though I have the gift of prophecy and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and though I have all faith so that I could remove mountains and have not charity, I am nothing. And though I bestow all my goods to feed the poor, and though I give my body to be burned and have not charity, it profit me nothing. Charity suffereth long, it is kind. Charity envieth not. Charity vaunteth not itself, is not puffed up, doeth not behave itself unseemly, seeketh not her own, is not easily provoked, thinketh no evil, rejoiceth not in iniquity, but rejoiceth in the truth, bearing all things, believing all things, hopeth all things, endureth all things. Charity never faileth, but rather there be prophecies, they shall fail. Whether there be tongues, they shall cease. Whether there be knowledge, it shall vanish away. For we know in part, and we prophesy in part. But when that which is perfect is come, then that which is in part shall be done away. When I was a child, I spake as a child, I understood as a child, I thought as a child. But when I became a man or a woman, I put away childish things. For now we see through a glass darkly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, that when I shall, but then shall I know, even as also I am known. And now abideth faith, hope, charity, these three, but the greatest of these is charity, love. Creating a consistent committed state of self-love requires daily, small, intentional actions rather than one-time gestures. Build this habit by integrating self-care, meditation, journaling, setting firm boundaries, practicing self compassion, and affirming your worth daily. Consistency is maintained by treating oneself with kindness, especially during failures, and if necessary, seeking professional support. Key strategies for consistent self love: daily actionable habits. Dictates 10 minutes a day to activities that connect you with yourself, such as journaling, sketching, uh, confirmations. Start your day with positive affirmations, reinforcing your worth, and phrases like, I am worthy of love no matter what. Mindful self compassion and forgiveness is treating yourself with the same kindness you offer a friend, especially when you feel down or stressed. Practice daily forgiveness to release your judgment and shame. Setting boundaries to protect your peace by setting limits on time, energy, and relationships that negatively affect your self image. Prioritize physical and mental well being by moving your body with joy, ensure proper sleep, and engage in hobbies that bring you happiness and joy. Sympathize Self-love by using self-discipline, by making self-care part of your routine rather than relying on motivation. Reflect and celebrate by ending your day by writing down these things you appreciate about yourself, such as your strengths or small daily accomplishments. By focusing on small, consistent, and compassionate actions, you can build a sustainable, long term habit of self love. Now, let me bring this podcast episode to a close with on this. In the next episode, number 4, I will continue with this topic discussion, diving even deeper into it. In the meantime, complete one, two, or all of these self love assignments, whichever one is best fitting. All are powerful ways to foster self compassion, improve mental health, and build a stronger relationship with yourself. Here are several types of self-love assignments ranging from writing exercises to actionable behavioral changes based on research into self-practices. Written self-reflection, which is journaling, a letter to your younger self by writing a letter to your teenage self, offering the kindest advice and understanding you needed at that time. The anti-critique list by identifying a part of your life or personality you are often critical of and write a compassionate letter to yourself about it from the perspective of a loving friend. Limiting beliefs release by identifying one negative belief you hold about yourself, challenge its truth, and write a new empowering belief to replace it. Daily gratitude and accomplishments by listing 3 things you are grateful for and one accomplishment you are proud of, regardless of how small. Number 2 assignment is behavior and action oriented assignment. The no challenge by identifying one situation where you struggle to say no and practice setting a boundary to protect your time and energy, along with joyful movement by engaging in 10 to 30 minutes of physical activity that makes you feel good rather than as a punishment of obligation. And another is a digital detox and cleanse by reviewing your social media feeds and unfollow, mute, or block accounts that make you feel inadequate or negative, and delete. Do whatever is needed in order to protect your peace. Another self date self date by taking yourself on a date. Go to a coffee shop, a museum, or a walk without looking at your phone, focusing entirely on your own company. Number 3, creative and therapeutic assignments. Art therapy, transformation by drawing or paint a representation of a difficult emotion or a part of yourself you struggle with. On a second sheet, create a compassionate response piece that brings warmth, color, or healing to the first image. Another way to mirror work by writing down 5 affirmations, such as I am enough, I trust myself, and read them aloud while looking in the mirror every morning for a week. Another way is body appreciation, a letter by writing a letter to a part of your body you usually criticize, thanking it for what it does for you. Number 4, direct self appreciation, the I am proud of list by listing 10 things you genuinely like about yourself. These can be personality traits, physical attributes, or skills. You can also compliment acceptance for one day. Whenever someone gives you a compliment, you must say thank you without qualifying it, minimizing it, or apologizing. Another thing to do is principle for success by approaching these assignments with curiosity and non-judgment. The goal is to build a habit of kindness and not to create another to-do list that causes stress. Thank you for joining me on this podcast episode of Perspective Shifting. I've covered some big ideas on how to find our flow today in commitment and consistency and self-love betterment. I have discussed how to better flow in commitment and consistency. Remember, we do not need to be perfect. We just need to be present in any given moment that is presently at hand. Our commitment is the heart. Our consistency is the action. So before you leave, I want to challenge you to choose one small manageable assignment, action to take regarding you taking charge of your self discovery, self love journey within the next 24 hours that will serve your near future greater, much more accountable, disciplined, and better aligned self. Just to keep you reminded of this importance that it is the small, committed steps that help us to create lasting change. If you're ready to build a more committed and consistent lifestyle shift, make sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss next week's episode, where I'll dive even deeper into flowing and commitment and consistency and self love betterment. Do not forget that consistency is the ultimate competitive advantage when we commit to showing up, even when we do not feel like it, even when the results are slow. We are building a more fulfilling, purposeful lifestyle we will become very proud of and much grateful for in the near future. Trust the process, embrace the grind, and stay in the flow. Commitment is the promise, consistency is the proof. Don't just act when you're motivated, act when it matters. So let us stay consistent and stay committed. Remember that commitment is the heart posture of promise, whereas consistency is the disciplined action that follows, ensuring dependability. Consistency outperforms perfection. Consistency builds momentum. Don't wait for motivation. Motivation follows disciplinary actions. Honoring small promises to yourself builds consistency. If this episode helped you find your rhythm, I'd be honored if you would share it with someone else who may be working toward a challenging goal with no self accountability and with no self discipline. The next episode is scheduled to air next week, again, right here on my YouTube channel. Also, please be on the lookout for my very short podcast videos and audios, which will be flowing right here on my YouTube channel as well. Before you go, I want to challenge you again to choose one, two, or all of the small assignments given that aligns with your goals and commit to it no matter what. Real transformation happens when you stop focusing on the destination and start enjoying the flow of commitment in our heart and consistency and in our daily actions. You have the power to create your future. Now let's go and make it happen. Thank you for spending your time with me tonight in this podcast hour. Keep pushing forward. I will get out of your way after flowing in this prayer. Excuse me. Dear Heavenly Father, I come to you today seeking the grace to love myself as you love me, unconditionally, patiently, and kindly. I ask for the strength and discipline to remain consistent in my journey of self betterment, even when I am tempted to quit and fall back into old habits. Please help me to break down walls of insecurity and self criticism, placing them with your truth about my worth. Grant me the wisdom to make healthy choices for my mind, body, and spirit, and the perseverance to follow through on my goals. When I stumble, help me to offer myself grace rather than condemnation. May I flow in a steady daily commitment to nurturing my well being, allowing me to show up as my best self, fulfilling, fully embracing the unique fearfully and wonderfully made person you created in me to become, to operate as, and to freely flow into. I thank you, Father, for your committed, consistent love and grace that sustains me. I trust that through your power, I can overcome obstacles and grow stronger every day in body, mind, heart, emotions, and spirit. I thank you, Father, for the manifested victory over it all right now. In Jesus' holy name, amen. Until then, keep flowing in commitment and inconsistency, and keep showing up for yourself. I am your podcast host, Martha Wooden, and this is the Perspective Shifting Podcast, episode number 3. Again, thanks much for listening. Your presence and support is greatly appreciated. Stay safe. I'll catch you next time in the next episode. Goodbye for now, and God bless.